If you're filing the IT returns, income tax return, one of the confusion most of the people have is that whether to go for a old regime or a new regime. So there are various factors you need to consider while going into a old regime or the new regime. As a matter of fact, the if you look at it, it was introduced only in the financial year 20, 20 and 21. That's in Union Budget 2020. So prior to that, there was nothing like old regime or a new regime. You can always claim deductions under 80C and HRA and the interest component for the housing loan. So it was pretty much uniform. But then with the Union Budget 2020, this new regime and old regime was introduced. In case of new regime, the deductions are not there under 80C, and with the old regime, all these deductions were there. So it's always like if the deduction is there, people were going for the old regime, and if they have invested, then probably they went for a old regime. Otherwise, new regime. And again, the old regime till last year was a default. It's a default one was filing, but I mean, from last year, new regime has been a default, and you need to appropriately choose if you want the old regime. And again, if you look at it, this is the article in Money Control as well. IDR filing opting for old regime file return to tax deductions. So again, it's a kind of a confusion. So whether to really depend upon a tax consultant to say that, or is there an option? There is an option as long as you know about how much is your earning. If you can calculate that, you can calculate yourself income. You can go to the income tax site. I'll show you that. You can go to the income tax site and make the appropriate calculation. And again, one more point I want to convey here is that if you look at if you're a salaried employee, you are okay to switch between old and new regime every year. Only salaried class, if you have salary, and if you don't have any kind of a business income. Whereas if you have a business income, then you are allowed only you can simply opting out of new regime and only has to submit this form. This is the form you need to submit, and it is allowed only two times. Beyond that, it is not allowed if you're a if you have business incomes. So that is one thing you need to keep in mind. If you have business income, you can opt out of the new regime once, and then you can come back to new regime maybe in the subsequent year or year after that. And after that, it is not allowed. So you need to be very careful in choosing the so if it is the salary part alone, if your taxable income is salary alone, you have no issues. You can choose, you can compute. And how are we going to compute? Can it be done on your own? Yes, I'll show you that. Whereas if you have a business income, then it is only you can do it only two times, and you need to file form 10 IEA, and again it is allowed only two times. So if you're particularly if you're changing the regimes, then it is one time you can go back to the old regime, because the new regime is a default one, old regime. And the subsequent year, if you are switching, because new regime seems to be little bit again, this depends on your tax various income and various investment depends on that. It always will vary, and that's where it becomes a challenge. So it's always do your computation first rather than somebody providing you with the information, like your chartered account providing the information. You can feed for yourself in the income tax calculator, which is provided by the income tax site, and make the computation and take an informed decision. So that is what I'm going to show you. So I'm right here in the income tax site. If you look at incometax.gov.in, so I'm in this site, and if you come down, if you have an income tax calculator, you don't need to even log into the site. You can just click on that, and again the income tax calculator will pop up. And again, if you look at it, there are two calculators. One is the basic calculator, the other one is an advanced calculator. In advanced calculator, you give against each of the headings like hit salaries, income under head house property, capital gains, any business and profession, all these are there. And again, you can switch between old tax regime and new tax regime. You have to switch between this and to check the ratios. And one more advantage as far as this advanced calculator is concerned, you will also get the even it will give you based on the your data filing. When is the data filing? It will even give you how much is the interest which you need to pay on that date if you are going to give any kind of an self-assessment tax needs to be paid. There need to be the interest component which gets a monthly interest component which gets added up after 31st March. So even that interest will be provided here in case of the advanced calculator. So you can you'll be able to find out that as well. Um, in this case, the basic calculator, it is not there. It gives you the total. It doesn't give you what is a interest component which you need to pay. Anyway, the interest component, it is more or less whatever the taxes, whether it is new regime or old regime. It's just the addition of interest component. So at the first stage, you can always give a get a initial input as how is that, because it directly gives what is that your taxation as per the old regime here and what is the taxes as per the new regime here. Yes, this is not a mandatory field. You can give your PAN details if you want, and then find out the calculator. Give the age of the citizen, because based on the age, the tax regimes could also vary. I'll take an example. Say for example, I am taking the last year, the financial year, that is the assessment year. This year, if it is 25, this year, that is I'm in July 2025. So the assessment year will be 25-26. I'm in July. Let me repeat. I'm in July 2025. Assessment year is 2025-26. If it is last year, then I have to take 2024 and 25. And for next year, of course, it is there. I mean, you'll not be opting for that. So 2024-25. This is last year as I'm on July 25. So I'll give an individual taxpayer and I'm below 60, regular citizen. Let's say, assume I have my taxable income is 8 lakhs, 80,000, 8 lakhs. Uh, so if you look out for this, only 8 lakhs, I have not invested. Let's assume I have not invested any investment. I have not invested in this could be any income, my salaried income, just for an example I'm taking. It could be salaried income, business income, whatever it is. 8 lakhs is my year income, that is on assessment year 24-25. That's last year. I'm in July 25. So it gives you what is that as per the old tax regime. So if you opt for the new tax regime, you save, it gives you the details as well. With the new tax regime, this is better. I just have 8 lakhs. Now I'm invested in PPF. I've invested in then in my my NPS about 50,000. If I'm I've invested my own voluntary contribution and 25,000 as I mean 25,000 as my medical insurance. And now if I choose that, you will see that you save 7,000. So it is uh, the old tax regime is now better. Now there is a, this is for, let's assume yes, you are going to invest, your company might be paying the EPF mandatorily, and most likely if you take the medical insurance and the NPS you invested, yes, the old tax regime is better. Now what if my you can always it not necessarily like it has to be 8 lakhs, 9 lakhs, what happened, just check. So it becoming closer compared to 8 lakhs. If I say 8 lakhs, uh, it was 7,800. With 9 lakhs it has come down. Now if I go to 10 lakhs, it has you save 7,800 with a new tax regime. So it has at one stage it has said new tax regime is better in spite of this investment of your ETC. Yes, you can always have any interest house component that you can always check. So 8 lakhs. So if it is 8 lakhs, the old tax regime, and 9 lakhs, it was coming close. And it says the new tax regime is beneficial, and with 10, it is all the more beneficial for the the new tax regime. One more thing, with this new and old tax regime. Let's change the assessment year and see what happens. I took last year, so it said with this amount, that is 8 lakhs, as my total taxable income, and with the allowance exemption, that is 2 lakh 25, which involves which includes your EPF, your NPS, and your probably the medical insurance. And now let's so this is for last year. Old tax regime is better, and if we change to this year, still old tax regime is better. But if you look at it, the last year and this year, there is a the amount varies. You would have saved this much, that is 7,800, and for last year and this year, the savings is gone down. And for next year, if you look at it, the new tax regime is better. You almost pay zero with the new tax regime, whereas with old tax regime, you will still end up paying 28,600. That is because till up to 12 lakhs is a limit has been extended. So you got to be. It seems to be like the new tax regime is attractive, but again, as I said, it all depends on how much is your taxable income and how much is the allowances or exemptions you are claiming. It all depends on the whether you have made investment in house, HRA is there. All these are plays a major role. So you need to really feed in this information. That's where you can even use the advanced calculator as well. Now, the advanced calculator, as I said, get into the advanced calculator. Here, you need to choose which one you want, old or new. The old. So here again, based on the date, because your interest gets calculated. So I'll be for last year. I'm going to take, and again, suppose on July itself, I'm going to file. Say I'll say July 10th. I'm filing, and income, say here I put 8 lakhs. Um, so 8 lakhs, and then provide the deduction details. I'm going to say I'm putting 1,50,000 over here, and again LIC, and then employee contribution, I say 50,000 over here, and then suppose mediclaim, I say 25,000 over here. Uh, So these are the deductions, and I am in old tax regime. So with this old tax regime, it even computes my taxes. I mean, if I'm going to file on this date, 10th July, I'm going to file. It gives me the breakup of taxes, and which is the interest component 728 and 9. Suppose if I next month I go instead of July, I go into August, and just check what happens to my interest rate. It has added up. The interest rate has added up because the monthly interest comes into play, so it gets added up. So you will know that clearly based on your the date of submission. The interest component also varies, so you will know exactly what is that taxes you got to pay with the date of submission. One more point is, if you look at it, I'm in old tax regime, 10th July. So this is the 19,800. But now, if I change it 2025, old tax regime. So this is my 19,000 is there. Let's say new tax regime, it's 25,000. It is at the higher end. But for next year, new tax regime, it is higher at the higher end. For the next year, with a new tax regime, that is check how much it is going to be there. It gets to zero because 12 lakhs is the, so new tax regime is getting I mean much more beneficial as we progress. But when you have the old tax regime for the next year also, then you have a taxes payable. So next year, this is not 2026, I am in 25. Next year, when I take the new tax regime, it becomes zero. So yes, has to do his homework. He has to know what is the is taxable income, whether it is salary or not, instead of going and directly depending on an external financial consultant. You yourself can analyze based on your input whether it is salary, you have an FD interest. Most likely most of the people will have the FD interest and all, which is considered as an income. People will have invested in FD, and if they have if there are any capital gains, that also is possible. And again, the forms will vary. ITR 1 to 2 3 it will vary depending upon how much is the capital gains. You have a provision to enter it in the advanced calculator. All this is possible. So as an individual, know your income. What is your income, whether you have invested any investment you have made, you can feed in the details. Income tax site has this calculator available, so you can feed in the details and checks for yourself what is the taxes you need to pay as on date. It again depends on what date you are submitting, because the interest component is going to vary. So it will give you all the necessary details. Some minor changes could be there, but you will by and large know what is the your tax outcome you need to pay, or whether there is going to be, if there are additional taxes you have paid based on your TDS or your advanced taxes, what is the tax refund you could get. All this you can feed in with this tax calculator, give the information, and the income tax calculator will provide you with the details. And as I said, one point you need to think is that or keep in mind is that it varies between an individual to individual. It all depends on how much is your income and how much has been invested, whether in ETC or any other, of course based on the limits. So based on the investment, you can perform all this calculation yourself and take an informed decision. I hope this presentation was useful. Thank you and cheers.